Welcome back to the F123 driver career. We are very nearly at the end of this first season where you guys will vote on what my future is, where we move after this particular year. But first we have 4 more Grand Prix weekends, I believe, including this sprint weekend in the United States. It's 5. USA, Mexico, Brazil, Vegas and Abu Dhabi. Still plenty of points available after our remarkable Grand Prix in Qatar. Yes, it's spoiled for you there, but the manner in which that came about is very much worth the watch. Very much track specific with our performance there, so certainly not expecting to be anywhere near the podium places in the United States. With the R&D, you can see how close it is with everyone though. There's really minimal field spread right now between the whole 10 teams. AlphaTauri just dropping off the bottom a little bit, but basically from McLaren to Williams, it's fair game. Hence why we've been able to get some of the finishes we have done recently. Fully wet first practice, then we're straight into a wet to dry qualifying, then a fully wet sprint race, before then a dry Grand Prix. It's going to be a hell of a weekend in Austin. No idea how I'm going to adapt to the weather conditions because I'm not great in the rain, but hopefully other teams aren't either. I will probably be running a fully dry setup throughout though, with priority being placed on that sprint, on the full race in the dry, where the maximum amount of points are available. Do drop the video a like though if you're enjoying the content. I'd appreciate it very much. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any more of the content. We'll just go and put some older parts in for practice before we then head straight to qualifying after that. I'll see you in a moment. I'll see you on track. Right, first lap over the line. First to set a time. Well, not the first to set a time actually. Quite a few have set a time, but we are up on a few. We'll return to garage. Into P2 as it stands, but obviously a number of drivers still yet to set a lap. I did that on minimal fuel as well. So not expecting to be anywhere near the front 5, but it would be great to be through after one run. Still P2, but expecting obviously everybody to get a lot faster between now and Q3 itself. And it will be dry, or it should be dry for Q3. That one run should be enough for us though in Q1. And actually, let me just double check that they're still out on intermediate tyres. They are. The track will improve, but hopefully not by enough. Maybe I should be out there just in case. I think I'm going to have to be out there. I've left it too late. I've left it too late by doing that final acceleration. Yeah, insufficient time to complete a flying lap. Now we have to pray. Is the track going to improve so much so that I get sent flying? Indeed it does. Thankfully then, there is a sprint race to try and improve that. Have I somehow managed to luck out and make it through? Bottas does. I am 20th. I will start the sprint race from the back of the grid. It said prior to the start of the qualifying that the dry weather wasn't going to come until right at the end. It's come at the end of Q1, not as we head into Q3. We got caught out by that. And I will start the sprint race dead last and 20th. But thankfully there is a sprint race, so I can recover some positions, and then we'll be good in the full Grand Prix to be further up than that. But that is quite annoying. And big resource point haul that we can then help again protect Alfa Romeo for next season. The regulation changes have hit the engine and engine and durability departments, and we're able to help protect in the majority of areas, and we will look to do so again here for Alfa Romeo moving forward. We could get at least another 2 done, maybe even a 3rd. Yes, so now we need just 440 points, 437 resource points to be able to protect Alfa Romeo entirely for the next season, and then we can start improving this year's car again. So plenty of action to come in the remainder of this season. Plenty of action to come in the remainder of this video and stream to a 19-lap, fully wet sprint race. Oh, it's very wet. This is a fully wet sprint race then. How is the grid going to look here for the sprint? Obviously, we were knocked out in the first session. It was rather evidently, by the lap times, dry at the end of qualifying. It was probably dry in Q2 at some point. McLaren are a very strong racing outfit in this save right now, as are Ferrari and Mercedes. Red Bull are dropping quite considerably. Verstappen and Perez 8th and 9th respectively on pace. Bottas P12, and you can again see by the times that yes, in Q2 it was dry as well, although Tsunoda did do a lap in the wet, unless someone's taken a penalty, which they haven't. So it was wet at the very beginning of Q2, but dry by the end. It is sodden right now here in this one. So we're going to take some fuel out. I can save fuel if I need to, but it's quite simply 19 laps in the pouring rain around this COTA circuit. Here we go then. 19 laps of a very, very wet circuit. Pools of water filling all of the drain gutterings and all over the track as well. We feel like we're quick, but now we need to actually go and prove it. Can we prove it? So, oh, good start, but halted slightly by Tsunoda getting out of shape, and that actually means that I'm going to stay last, I think, here. I was hoping to make a couple of positions there, and maybe show some good tracks in here and get around the outside of turn one of a few. Looks like we might be able to do so. Daniel Ricciardo's out of shape. That's P17, that's P18 as Logan Sargent commits to the right-hander. Now I'm out of position for the rest of this section. Able to hold ahead of Hulkenberg and Tsunoda. P18 then after the first sequence of corners in the first sector. Trying to get ourselves back up as high as P8 for maybe some points in this Sprint Grand Prix. Points will be lovely. Ultimately, we want to finish as high as possible regardless of points to give us as good a possible start for the full Grand Prix. Good acceleration. We get good traction, but then top speed isn't really there. I'm running a lot of wing, I think. I'm going to have to use battery quite cleverly here. To be fair, that was a lick it and send it on Daniel Ricciardo. To be fair, because we're running so slowly and braking so much, thankfully Lance saw me coming. I wasn't the best of moves. We should regain a lot of battery throughout the course of the sprint race, so we can use quite a lot of it as well. Fuel is alright at the minute. We took some out from the recommended, but hopefully we'll be fine come the end of the sprint race. Won't need to worry about fuel at all. I'm definitely better in the traction zones, 100%. Slightly worried about tyre wear though. We're going to be nearing, if not over 40% by the end of the race. Up to P14 now though, past my teammate. Not so strong. These twisty bits though in the wet, as you can see, struggling to close in on Albon, and Bottas is, or was at least, all over the back of me. We were under pressure lap 1 from Nico Hulkenberg here as well. Verstappen down in 12th right now. Got the run on Alex. He might go defensive. He has. We'll go even more aggressive. I'm just not confident of getting the car stopped in time. So Alex outbrakes me. Keeps hold of P13. I'm going to try and do the same. Oh, I was going to try and do the same move on him that I did on Stroll, but he went a little bit aggressive with his defending there, Alex, and I had to get even further to the inside, which meant I was going to have to carry even less apex speed, so I just got out of it. Albon fighting hard. Verstappen down in P12 though was a nightmare start for him. Still a McLaren 1-4 rather than a 1-3. One of the Mercedes is past Oscar Piastri presumably, although they've been very evenly matched, Piastri and Lando. Case of here we go again against Alex Albon. I'm going to go for the outside here to then hopefully have the inside line for the next corner. I'll brake a little later. And get off the brakes and just roll into the corner. Try and have the inside line here to get myself up into P13, which we have done. Kevin Magnussen holding up Max Verstappen at the moment, something chronic. Big gap opening up in front of the Haas and the Red Bull. And we hope to get involved in this fight in the next few corners. Lap 3, we've gone from 20th to 13th with the top of the bottom half right there in front of us. K-Mag went wide there. Alex had a look at my inside. Max is very slow on the pickup. And I'm going to just nab him. He's now going to have the inside line and just has the full confidence in that Red Bull to throw it up the inside of me. Not strong at this part of the track in the wet at all, and that is showing quite horribly here. I think Kevin Magnussen might have some damage, you know. I've run wide. Alex is going to have a look. Kevin's just really slow around these turns. I think K-Mag is carrying some front wing damage because the gap to the top 10 and those two Alpines at the minute is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Could have a look at Max here maybe. I'm going to run the risk of going into Kevin. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it. Throw it up the inside of Max. Oh, got it stopped, got it turned. Little wriggle on exit, but we get it done. I'll ask about K-Mag and see if he does have any wing damage.
This is great stuff. We're gaining by 3 tenths a lap. Good work.
No damage. I could have sworn K-Mag had some damage. This Haas is just dirt then right now. No downforce. They might have gone for a fully dry setup similar to me, which might have some say in their lack of pace. Hulkenberg's absolutely nowhere as well. Try and get a good exit here. I can't quite nail the throttle well enough in a traction zone at the minute to have a go at Magnussen, but I might have gotten up the inside here now, and we have done. Oh, she didn't want to stick.
Brilliant. Nice move.
That's P11, but now there's a big 4.5 second gap to both the Alpines, and then a bit of a gap. As you know, the Alpines have closed up. I think there's a Ferrari with some damage there, maybe going very slowly compared to those in front of him. Both the Alpines are there now. Sergio Perez in front of him, and Aston Martin, presumably Fernando Alonso, in front of Sergio Perez, and that Ferrari is falling backwards. Although Ocon's making a move as well. That Ferrari is not doing well right now. Gasly and Sergio Perez having a bit of a ding-dong around the first turn and into the first sector. And because of that, we've closed the gap a bit. We've earned about a second there, which is great. Verstappen is now past K-Mag behind as well, so he's followed me through. And Max will probably come with me up to the back of that next group of 4 or 5 cars. P11, but the points are within sight. My fastest lap of the race so far. Yellow flag behind. But I think just for cars going slowly maybe, or is someone retiring? Yeah, there's a Haas going slowly. That'll be Hulkenberg because K-Mag's right behind me. Nico Hulkenberg is going to retire from this sprint race and will start the full race last. And we now are right behind this whole group that are stuck. Safety car!
No overtaking.
Well, that will bring everyone back towards us. Hulkenberg must have pulled over in an awkward position then. Well, does that require a safety car? I mean, it's on the just off the racing line on the entrance into turn 1, maybe? I don't think so. I don't think that's safety car worthy. We've not got any fresh, wet tyres to go to, so everyone's just going to be on the tyres that they're on. But basically a fresh restart then closes us up to everyone in front. The Ferrari that was at the front of this gaggle has lost a place to Aston Martin of Fernando Alonso. It's Carlos Sainz that's P7. That will nullify the race and we'll go again with 12 laps to go. Probably 11 laps to go by the time, or 10 laps even by the time we probably 11 laps by the time we get started here. And we should be racing again on lap 9. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, which is your 9, and then lap 10 will be the 10th lap. So as we cross the halfway point of this sprint race, we currently are doing 39 miles an hour. Tyres are going to get very cold here, but they will go soon. In front.
Heavy rain will be with us for a while now.
Yeah, it's going to be like this for the whole sprint race, but it should be dry for the whole main race. We hope, anyway. Prepare to resume racing is what we're looking to do. Oh, but they're not gone yet. It's a really, really, really slow restart. Still yellow flags. And we are now green.
Okay, clear.
Esteban's gone defensive. I'm going to go deep into one. Trying to hold it around the outside. Which we have done. We're up into P10. Gasly, Perez, Sainz in front. That Haas just must be an absolute dog of a car. Because we asked about K-Mag potentially having damage. They said he didn't. But look at the gap already. Back from Verstappen behind me to the Haas. That Haas is not a very good race car today in this rain. One already retired. The other one struggling in P13 to do anything other than hold up those behind it. I, at the moment, can't actually get close enough to think about making a move on Pierre Gasly at the minute. Just that little bit too quick for me. Try and put a good lap together on lap 12 and maybe contemplate taking the place. Well, Gasly's struggling for track, so you can see how much the car is just wiggling underneath him there. Just can't put the power on. We might be able to have a go at Gasly down the straight if I can have a good exit. Which we have done, and we'll whack a bit of battery on. We're going to go for P9, and then the points are right in front of us. Pierre fights back. Alright. I'll fight back at Pierre, though. Give me that P9, boy. Thank you. Checo! We're coming! Sainz is now keeping up with those in front of him. So either Sainz didn't have damage, but just got cut adrift from the leading group, or, as you see the McLaren and the Ferrari pulling away in front, now the driver in P3 perhaps has had a bit of a coming together with someone. I don't know, but there's still very much a train here, isn't it? And with 7 laps to go, it's a train we'd very much like to be on board rather than just watching from behind. Here we go, we've got a good exit. I'm going to go for Checo here. All the way around the outside of him if we can, to then have the inside line for the next turn. Still here, Sergio. Is he going to try a switchback? No. Ultimately, he's not going to try a switchback. He's just conceded the place. We are in the points. Since we took Checo, we've just been sat here, not really able to close on those in front. Not really that threatened by those behind either. So it's going to be, in the end, a relatively comfortable P8 for us in this Sprint Grand Prix, barring any major dramas on the final lap. We'll be happy enough to take that point. And if I'd have qualified P8 in a normal race weekend here, I'd have been very happy. So we can't complain. Everyone will have a full set of dry tyres for the main race, so strategy will be open for everyone because so much of practice and all of qualifying, or most of, actually no, I'll have more dry sets than those. I'll have more dry sets than those that got out of Q1 because they will have used some in qualifying that I didn't. So I will have more. I may well have more options available to me. I don't know how many of those sets will actually become available to those drivers for the race. They should, in theory, in real life, I think, be all available if they need them. But regardless, we'll start 8th, probably on a medium set. I imagine we'll go medium soft would be the intention. Might be a 3-stopper here in Koto, I can't quite recall. It might be medium soft, or medium hard soft maybe, depending on what's faster. We'll have a look at the expectation from the strategy screen prior to the race. Although having done no dry weather driving so far at this race weekend, and all of my practice programs, so all of the data I got from the practice programs was done in the wet. So what they can predict for tyre wear, I don't know actually. Lando Norris gets the sprint race win. GG for that. We end up finishing P8 and taking a point, and put us in a good spot for the full Grand Prix. Driver of the day for the Saturday. But who's going to do what on Sunday? We know what the grid's going to look like because we just had it. in the race. So, I start P7. I say we know what the grid's going to look like. Someone's got a penalty. That someone is George Russell. And he's starting a long way down. Russell will start 19th. Wow. That's a long way down for George Russell. A lot of medium runners at the front of the field, and that's what I'm leaning towards as well. Strategically, he reckons a 3-stop is quicker. We can always switch to a 3-stop if we need to, but I'm going to start on this strategy. It's recommending 5 laps worth of extra fuel. 5 laps? Do I really need 5 laps? I don't think. I mean, I don't think so. I'm going to put 4 laps of extra fuel in. Even that feels like overkill. We're going to aim for a 2-stop, but if my tyre wear is dead, then we will 3-stop, knowing we've got 3 sets of soft tyres available to us. Supposedly, the 3-stop is quicker, even without factoring in anything that happens in the race, by about half a second. But we'll play it by ear. Weather should be dry throughout, even though there are clouds at the end. It did say 12% chance of rain to 14% chance of rain for the first cloud, back to 12% chance of rain for the second cloud. So unless there's a safety car, or maybe even multiple safety cars, I expect it to be dry throughout. I'm surprised it's recommending quite so much fuel, but it is what it is. We'll start P7. We'll aim for anywhere near where we are right now and see what happens over the next 56 laps or so. We'll run a quick prediction for the Twitch stream and then we'll get racing. Right, tyres are warm. They are more than warm. They are bloody hot at 92 degrees. Put them on your hand and you lose most of your skin, but it's not quite prime temperature for the tyres. Low 90s, you want mid to late 90s. Alonso in front of Carlos Sainz on the softs to my left. It's probably the other driver slightly out of place with the quality of car. We've had a good initial start. Leclerc's actually not done too well. Both Ferrari on the soft is intriguing. Not just the one taking the tactical gamble, but both. Let's get out of the throttle, even onto the brake there around the apex. They are 3 wide into turn 2. Alonso, Leclerc and Hamilton, and will stay P7. They were very slow there. Never mind, we'll go P6. Whew! That was a bit of a code brown. Fernando Alonso actually up to 3rd place now. Don't quite know how he's done that, but great work from the experienced man behind the wheel of that Aston Martin. Verstappen on his softs has shot up as well. The soft run is going to be really competitive in these opening stages. We're just praying to stick with them to stand a chance of maybe some decent points later in the race.
Right, we need to get past here. Use overtake.
3% wear on the first lap. That's high. Yellow flag. Oh, that's why there's a yellow flag.
That was a heck of an impact. Let me know you're okay.
All of a sudden, a Fernando Alonso appeared. I didn't see him spin. And then, as we go up the hill, he might have just been out of shot as he spun as we come over the apex. No, I was concentrating on the apex. Round he goes, and then, boop, there he is. Come round the corner here. He's hidden, he's hidden, he's hidden, he's hidden. Can't see a thing. All of a sudden, there's a Fernando Alonso. Bosh, there goes my wheel. Well, I can flashback. That will happen again to Fernando because I think things like that are scripted. I know retirements are scripted. And the spin must be scripted as well. Oh, I can't let everybody just stop there, though. We've got to have everybody get through. There you go. Leclerc and Hamilton are through. I'm through. Verstappen's through. Sainz is through. All we can... There you go, VSC. All we can say, all we can hope now is that the majority of people make it through. Now, everybody's past Alonso. He will be bottom and last now.
Okay, slow down, slow down. Your delta's
But
negative, which means
everybody made it through, and I think without damage. So Fernando's race is ruined, but nobody else's is, thanks to a few tactical flashbacks that are only fair to keep the racing good and competitive. They're still trying to take advantage of it and being like, whoa, here I go into a podium position. Like, that's just nonsense.
DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
The two McLarens have just disappeared out front, haven't they? I think they're on mediums too. Lando's on softs. He's dragging Oscar with him, and then the rest of us medium runners are trying to stay near the front. But the soft runners are getting the better of us at the moment. But we, in theory, should have the better of them at the end of the race. I think the 3-stop is going to be the way forward here. I don't think tyre wear is going to last well enough for us to consider the 2-stop. Battling with Max Verstappen right now. But those that have started on the softs will have to run the medium tyre at some point, whereas ourselves, from now on, can run soft tyres in every stint after this and just nail it. It's just going to be pedal to the metal, full chat the entire Grand Prix, I think. Especially now that fuel hopefully isn't going to be an issue because of the virtual safety car. Carlos doesn't have DRS right now, so he's going to be a little bit vulnerable. But everybody in front is getting a little bit too far away outside of Carlos Sainz. We're basically driving at the limit of our car at the moment. We know that there are a handful of teams that are kind of there or thereabouts with their competitiveness. But we've still got to pump in the lap times and put in the performance to warrant staying where we are. Lando with the fastest lap of the race. If we're too competitive, then we may consider upping the difficulty to 104 before the end of the season from 103. But I think it's still about right. I think it was track specific in Qatar. I think we are about right now. I'm very much stuck right now in P6. Not able to make inroads on Carlos. Able to defend from those behind, but struggling to make much of an impact. With tyres at 25% after 10.5 laps, pretty sure that 2-stop strategy is going straight out the window. We're just going to 3-stop it and we'll be fine. That's the only real genuine option here. We'll try and undercut the first stint. I may then, depending on the situation, undercut the next stint as well, and then run a lap or two longer in the final stint, depending on what the race is like at that moment. We do have fresh everything to go to. Oh no, this is my only set of medium tyres apparently. Okay, so I only have fresh softs or hards to go to. I could 2-stop by medium hard softing, but I still feel like the 3-stop with the 3 soft sets is probably the quickest way to get to the end. And if I can hold on to this, and it is an if at the moment, I'm going to be within DRS range of Carlos Sainz finally. I still haven't shaken Perez or Verstappen behind, but Carlos Sainz has fallen back towards us as Leclerc and co get further away. Although Leclerc actually is dropping off the Mercedes and the McLaren in front of him. So Ferrari on their soft tyres are starting to show a little bit of weakness. Verstappen is going to be able to extend his soft stint, or at least get better performance and lap time and race time out of those tyres by being dragged along by myself with my mediums. But you saw the way Carlos's back end stepped there. His soft tyres are really starting to struggle. Now on lap 12. We're thinking about pitting, probably going to pit on lap 13, so next lap. And I anticipate those other 3 stoppers to stop on lap 14. Nobody in yet. Still nobody in. Not expecting anyone else to pit next lap other than myself. And hopefully, if we can get the lap right, we might be boxing from P5 in front of Carlos Sainz. But it depends how this first sector goes. I don't know if we'll be able to catch and overtake Sainz here. We'll try. I am going to box this lap though, and we'll undercut by a lap. No, not quite. Not quite fast enough or close enough to Carlos Sainz, but it has opened up a bit of a gap to those behind by using the battery as much as I did there. We'll try and maintain that as best we can. heading into the pit stop. We're going to undercut and hope to come out in front of Carlos Sainz once we've pit. If we can get ourselves even remotely close to Leclerc and co, then that's great. But at the minute, P5 is the current aim. And I am the only one to box. We're the only one in. That's fine. We expected that. Hoping everyone else will pit next lap or later and we'll work the undercut and gain some time. Gonna have to be lucky with traffic though. And I'm not quite going to come out between that gap of the Haas and the Mercedes. But we are going to come out in the gap between the Williams of Sargent and the Aston Martin of Fernando Alonso. So hopefully on this lap, which I think is going to be my only lap to try and nail an undercut, we will be able to gain some time by having a bit of a free track in front of us. Let's do it. Let's pump in the lap time. Try and get ourselves past Carlos Sainz with an undercut. You see how the gaps in front are closing dramatically. And you'd like to think that that's what's happening as well, overall race time wise, with Carlos Sainz. He's still got the 2 Red Bull for company. Will use quite a bit of battery down the straight as well. If I can close on Leclerc, that'd be lovely. I don't think we will, though, by too much. But using the battery will nullify any DRS effect those guys have. It will help us gain on Sainz. I'm sure we'll come out P5 unless we get held up now in this third sector. When everyone pits, we should come out P5. This might cost me. One of the McLarens has gone on. It's Leclerc that's boxed and Sainz is doing another lap. That's going to help. Lots of drivers in the pits. If I can get Hulkenberg here around turn 1, that'd be great. And I think, have we just taken Charles Leclerc? I think we have. No, we haven't. He's just come out in front of us. Leclerc going round the S's now. I need to get past. Oh, because they're so slow. Jesus, Nico, do you mind? I think Hulkenberg had some overspeed there. I'm going to try and... Oh my god, he's so slow. I'm going to try and duck under Ricciardo here. Which we've done. Whoa, that was nearly front wing gone. And the gap to Leclerc is about the same. But as the others are in now, have we lost too much time? Stuck behind those two. I'm worried. So that might be the case. Leclerc goes past. Out goes the McLaren. And we will take Carlos Sainz. We have undercut the Ferrari. Thank God for that. It didn't cost us. Verstappen's gone to mediums. He's going soft medium. So intrigued to see what he does next. And Verstappen's actually undercut Carlos Sainz. Either undercut him or overtaken him, one of the two. And Max Verstappen is now P6 and Sainz is P7. Both Ferrari have gone soft. So they too still have a set of harder compound tyres to go to. Whereas we don't. We can purely run soft tyres between now and the end of the race. So it will probably want me to stop on lap 28. Lap 30 wants me to extend a little bit. Not sure about that, pal. Not sure about that. I was thinking about lap 27, if I'm honest. We'll play it by ear, see what everyone else does. We'll see what the gaps are like at the time. But now we're status quo again, I think. I'm probably not going to close in on Piastri and Leclerc. And Lewis Hamilton's undertaken them both in the pit stop rounds. And Lando Norris is going to win the sprint. And he is hot favourite for this full Grand Prix victory as well. And again, I'm dragging Verstappen with me. It shows how competitive the whole field is at the minute. That the field spread is really not that high at all. A third into this Grand Prix. And also that despite gaining hand over fist on those in front, Max on a harder compound is just with me. We haven't been able to shake Max Verstappen in that Red Bull the entire race. I would wonder whether Piastri has any sort of damage here, because he is losing a lot of time. I'm going to have a look. I'm sure Piastri's got some damage. He's so slow. He's like Magnussen in the sprint race, but... Yeah, look at that. There's a giant hole in Piastri's right front end plate. He's running with a lot of damage there. No wonder he's so slow. Wow. That is a lot of damage to try and deal with. Imagine that around the first sector. That's got to be a nightmare for Oscar Piastri. By the end of the race, that is surely just a free position for us. Jesus. That's some of the worst front wing damage I've seen whilst the end plate is still intact and on the car for a long time. We've seen a couple of little holes before, but that is gaping. How they haven't changed that wing, McLaren, I don't know, unless he picked it up after the pit stop. And it'll get changed next time we stop. I don't know. But, whoa, Piastri's going to have a real handful of a car right now. And by struggling as much as he is, he's slowed Charles Leclerc up. And he's brought us within DRS distance as well. Our race is being dramatically improved by Oscar Piastri's devastating news. Or devastating damage would have been the great alliteration way to do it. Oh, now he's spun as well. The Ferrari's without a wing. Safety car deployed. 5-second penalties for a number of different drivers. I am going to switch to the hards. I'm going to switch to the hard tyres. I'm going to box. I'm going to switch to the hards. And then we'll take the hards as far as we can and then run one set of softs. I got a 5-second penalty. I got a 5-second penalty. I thought it was someone else picking up a penalty. Let me have a look at the race director, not the rinse. No. What did I get a penalty for? I got a penalty for a severe collision with Leclerc. So did Oscar Piastri. Well, if I pit then, I can see off that 5-second penalty and put the hards on, and then it won't affect the rest of our race from there. Oh man, that's annoying. I didn't really have much I could do in that situation. I couldn't really avoid Leclerc. He had to slam his anchors on the same way that I did. Oh, he's got front wing damage as well, Charles Leclerc. We're both going to be pitting for a front wing here. We're getting stuck behind Charles Leclerc now. It's going to cost me a lot of time to those behind, because he's going to be really slow in the first sector, in the third sector, and I need to get through this as quickly as possible. Will I get... Oh, I'm sure I'll only get a 5-second pen. If I overtake, I'm gonna overtake him, take the penalty, and then see it off in the box. This is just silly. He's got damage. I'm under every right to overtake him. You are allowed to overtake a slower car under conditions like this. If... Oh, I got a drive through for my overall safety car delta. I don't mind the 5-second penalty for the safety car. But oh, I just managed it. Just managed to work the delta. So we'll box this lap for hards. Leclerc will box for a fresh set of tyres. And we will serve our penalty. Deary me. We've got the pace in the car to come through. I don't think ultimately it will be a bad decision. They want me to go to the end on this set. I obviously will not be going to the end on this set. Yeah, I didn't anticipate having to slow down for the safety car delta. But in real life, I would be perfectly within my rights to overtake Charles Leclerc there. He has damage. He's going a lot slower. He's going a lot slower. I'm within my rights to overtake him by the letter of the law. The game hasn't allowed that. The game has also not allowed me to serve all of my penalty in the one pit stop. So I've still got 5 seconds. So we'll have to serve that after the next pit stop as well. If it were real life, I would have no penalty there, and I would be perfectly allowed to do what I did. Unfortunately, the game doesn't recognise that. And then we got hit with the not expecting the delta to have dropped as violently as it did for the safety car. And as a result, I ended up with an extra 5 seconds penalty. I should have had 0 penalty. And ultimately, I got 2. I should be allowed to serve all of the penalty in one go, but the game only lets you serve 5 seconds at a time. I'm sure in real life you can serve more than 1 penalty at once. That's annoying, but I still think we got the pace in the car to get a strong finish here. Wants me... Oh, God. Concentrate, says. It wants me to take this set all the way to the end, which I could do, and then serve the 5 second penalty at the end of the race, but I'm sure switching to a set of softs about lap 40 is probably going to be the best way to go about it. I'm sure we'll be fine. No one else pits, so we can have fresh hard tyres to their worn softs. And another safety car, like you say, another safety car could bring us right back into it, depending on timing. But I now only have fresh soft tyres left. I could obviously take these hards off, put softs on, and then come back to these worn hards, but I only have new softs left, and that medium set aren't usable. Piastri boxed and changed his wing as well. Leclerc boxed and changed his wing. At the minute, we are a net podium, barring that 5 second penalty, because I only have 1 or none stops left, whereas everyone else in front of us, at least everyone else in front of us has 2 stops left. Some because their softs won't last, others because they haven't run the right quota of tyre compounds yet. Come on, Daniel, bloody hell. Safety car in this lap though, and we will look to make as many positions as quickly as possible, and we will be able to do so, I think. Didn't go as smoothly as planned, but we'll make it work. And we're green flag racing once more. We've got poor exit, annoyingly. We'll try and make as many positions as we can as quickly as possible. And we'll also try and frustrate Piastri and Leclerc behind on their softer compound tyres.
Battery charge is high. Let's use that overtake button a bit more.
Ricciardo dealt with. That's 1. They all broke a lot earlier than I expected them to. They were kind of lucked into that move. It was unintentional, but we got the job done. I'm running more rear wing than they are because we get to the braking zone here and their overspeed is just higher than mine. But that's Hulkenberg seen off. That's another position. And I would put money on the fact that I can get through this traffic quicker than Leclerc and Piastri can. I'm certain of it, to be fair. That we'll be able to get through the traffic infinitely quicker than Leclerc or Piastri. So that 5 seconds we've got as a penalty to them will be nullified and wiped out before we serve it. But it's those at the front. Can we catch those at the front? Oh, they're so slow around the apex. No DRS yet. Not for the next lap. So we're just going to try and slot in front of Tsunoda here behind Alonso. That overspeed though, my God. Never mind, we're going to get the job done. Thank you. It's P13. Sorry, P14. It's like the sprint all over again, isn't it? Except it's a lot easier to drive the car right now than it was then. I'm going to go for Alonso up the inside here. You'll be proud of that, Fernando. That was a very good move. That's the sort of thing that you'd do. Risky, considering all the other cars were in as close proximity as they were, but that was a very good move, actually. I'm quite happy with that one. And DRS will be active from this next lap.
DRS has been enabled. DRS is now enabled.
We've already gotten significantly clear of Leclerc and Piastri in terms of positions. And now we're P12. You just got to be so hyper aggressive in these situations, and you will make it work. Gasly's not got DRS here, so he's going to be vulnerable. I'm going to try and box Magnussen in so he can't get Gasly. And I'll take K-Mag and then try and take Pierre Maybe in the same way I took Fernando, if I get the run. Which I don't quite think I have. I didn't want to risk it. Not this time. Might have around the outside of 19 though. Hey, bucked out of that. See you, Pierre. That's points again. Back in the points. Teammate Valtteri Bottas in P9. Go on, lad. Proving that there is 2 points positions available in the race for Alfa Romeo, such is the pace in the car. Again, Lando and Lewis have kind of disappeared out front. But it's the 2 Red Bulls that are now sandwiching Carlos Sainz rather than Sainz dragging them along. Verstappen did get ahead, didn't he, through the first pit stops. But can't pull away. Excuse me, sir. Team orders. Move out the bloody way. We're on different strategies. I'm faster than you are. Just lose as little time as possible between us, letting me through. And we'll try and make some more moves. Esteban Ocon next. That's P9. Piastri and Leclerc just can't make it through the traffic. I can be so much more aggressive than they can. We'll make it work. Excuse me, Esteban, I want P8 as well, please. Thank you. Ooh, job not quite done. Job done now. Alex Albon and George Russell next up. Russell held up a bit by Alex. Expecting those, well, almost everybody else to start pitting again within the next 3 or 4 laps. So we should be making positions soon. The tyres are 11% worn. I want to take these to lap 40 and then put a set of softs on. And some of the front runners are in now. A lot of the guys are in now. Right, now's where we find out if our strategy is going to work or not. We're up to P3. Now we need to make this strategy work. Of course, they're all going to be on softs. I'm going to be on wearing hards, so it's not going to be easy. If I had another set of medium tyres to go to, I'd whack those on as soon as the gap to Lando gets to about 7 seconds. And then take those to the end, but I'm not going to have that luxury, unfortunately, so I'm just going to have to use my battery as best I can to keep the gap as big as I can for as long as I can. Hamilton in. Curiously, Perez keeps going. Checo continuing on. I presume he still has 2 stops left to make, unless he's now 1 stopping. Sorry, 2 stopping rather than 3 stopping. He might well just be in now instead.
Okay, we think they've got
yeah.
2 stops remaining. 2 stops remaining.
There you go, Checo in at the end of lap 30. So now we will lead the Grand Prix, and at this stage, everybody has 1 stop left. Apart from maybe Leclerc, who might try and take those mediums to the end of the race, but I don't think so. Everyone has 1 stop left. But my lead is effectively 1.9 seconds, not 6.9 seconds. Soon to be significantly less than. Did say it was going to get cloudier towards the end of the race, didn't it? I wonder if there is maybe some rain on the way at some point. I'll ask about the weather, but the way it went 14% and then back to 12% makes me think that maybe there's not. You never know. Might have been a double bluff. Don't know what our ultimate position to aim for is going to be at this rate. We will at some point fall behind Norris, Hamilton, Verstappen and Sainz. But, and it is a but, if I can undercut them by a couple of laps and stay with them once they get past me, then maybe we might have the chance of a podium today. Certainly, I think a top 5 is doable from here. And the top 5 was the ultimate aim when we started the Grand Prix as well, wasn't it? So, despite what's happened throughout, I don't think, ultimately, our end goal is going to change at all. I'm actually going to let Lando go and not fight him too hard. What I don't want to do
Okay, focus. We need to stay
is
on form.
sit in first, slow everyone up, and back us all into Verstappen. What I'd love to do is try and hang on to the back of Lando Norris and get carried along. Use battery and DRS and get carried along. And stay part of this front group. And keep the gap to Verstappen. But through the first sector, they might just be a little bit too quick for me on those new softs. I'm going to stop in about 5 laps time, I think. Here come 2 cars. Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton got boxed in a little bit there, so couldn't go for the overtake. A safety car anytime now, between now and the end, would be fine. We've gotten past the time where my soft set wouldn't get me far enough. So now I'm happy with a safety car at any point. Plan is to stop 40-ish. 41 would have been the previous planned pit stop with the undercut. Albon is now actually past Leclerc. So currently Albon P7. I feel like Sainz I might be able to stay with, you know. So in this lap, serve the 5-second penalty. We'll then have better tyres than those around us to begin with. And hopefully we can get a top 4. Maybe. Top 6 is as almost certainty, but top 4 is a potential here. And if there's another safety car, I still have another set of new used tyres, new soft tyres I can go to. So we're taking this set 16 laps to the end. Okay, one of the Ferrari was just in. Not sure which. Both the Ferrari. Both the Ferrari were in. And a McLaren too. So everybody is now starting to make their final pit stops. And we're hoping that they all get stuck in traffic and then we can maybe catch them up a little bit by being more aggressive. But I have a funny feeling everyone's just going to bundle into the pits at the same time. And mean that I can't take advantage of that, but we'll try. One of these 3. Try and follow Fernando through here if I can. Or maybe get really naughty and try and take them both here. See you, gents. Bye. Toodaloo. Okay, so we are going to come out 8th here. But look at some of the tyre wear. Oh, damage as well to someone. Damage to someone. But look at the tyres they're on. Hard tyres. It's Piastri's got damage again, bless him. He's had a coming together. I get really lucky there. He's had a coming together with Sergio Perez. Maybe they've both got damage. I don't know. Certainly one of them. Perez might be fine, but Oscar Piastri is missing an end plate again. And we'll have to pit for another front wing for the second time today. Sorry, Oscar, that's not gone well for you. Stroll in front will still have to pit again. Now surely we'll have a pace advantage on Checo. with fresh soft tyres compared to his hards. I think actually he's got damage too. I think I saw no front left end plate on his front wing as well. So we're P6 at the minute. Stroll, I believe, has to pit again. So that's P5. And then it's just a case of, can we make any inroads on those guys in front of us that are on slightly harder compound tyres? If any of them are on slightly harder compound tyres outside of Carlos Sainz that's on the mediums. Some of the others may well all be on hards because they started on mediums like I did. Not sure yet. Lewis on hard tyres but 9 seconds down the road. But in a battle with Max Verstappen that might cost them both some time perhaps. 13 laps to go. It's a battle that's cost Lewis a lot. I think he's got damage. We've gained 4 seconds on Lewis Hamilton through that first sector alone. I think Lewis and Max have come together. Lewis is going to have damage. Perez has pit. Piastri has pit. They're both pit again for a new front wing. And I think Lewis Hamilton is going to do the same. Sainz is stuck behind Lewis here. And it's costing him time. Massively time. Massive amount of time, sorry. Costing him time massively. 2 different sentences came out in one there. Sure, Lewis is going to pit here. Yeah. Lewis Hamilton in for another front wing. Well, that's P4. And we're now 2 seconds behind Carlos Sainz with softer tyres. But my tyres are going to wear a lot quicker than his. So now it's a case of, will we finish 4th? Or will we make it onto the podium ahead of Carlos Sainz? That's our new battle. What I'm actually praying for now is the safety car. If there's a late safety car, we might get a win. Because I've got an extra set of soft tyres that they don't have because I got knocked out in qualifying. If I can just get within DRS of Carlos. I think I'll be able to hold him at bay. Like, get him and then hold him at bay, but I've got to get there first. I'm having to use all of my battery to do so, which will leave me none to defend if I get there. He's on a harder compound and he stopped a lap or two before me. My tyres are at 25% almost. What would be lovely would be if Carlos could make a mistake. Carlos can make a mistake that lets me in. I'd love it. I'd be very appreciative. I've used all but 2% of my battery there to get within a second. But I don't think with his tyre advantage I'll be able to maintain it until the next DRS zone. There is a yellow flag coming towards the end of Sector 1. It's going to be Nico Hülkenberg, I think, retiring. Please give me a safety car. Give us a safety car. It's not going to, is it? Oh, man, if there was a safety car. I'm also now looking at that fuel gauge. I'm going to need to save fuel before the end of the race. And quite a bit of it too. P4 is as high as we'll get. We are now trying to survive until the end of the race. Leclerc on hards. Trying to close us down. Albon on softs. Trying to close us down. I'm not going to be able to catch Carlos Sainz now. My tyres are too far gone. My fuel gauge is too low. I'm going to need to try and save some fuel towards the end, otherwise we won't even make the finish, let alone make any more places. Have to leave that open now. We are into the red on fuel. This is where it would have been lovely to be in Carlos's DRS to be able to save fuel, but alas, I cannot. We can just off throttle into turn 1 and turn 12 and we should be good. Rain is not due, no. It said 12% rain, sunny, 14% rain, cloudy, then 12% rain, cloudy. So I think it's getting overcast, but I don't think it's actually going to start raining. Oh man, we could have had a podium. We could have had a podium. P4 is all we'll get. P4 is still great, by the way. Still a joint second best finish. It'll be the third time this season we've finished 4th. So I can't really complain too much. Still got 3 laps to go. This P4 isn't guaranteed yet. Dead tyres and no fuel is not necessarily a great combination. Hopefully, Leclerc catches Albon and they fight a bit and slow each other down. I think we'll be fine anyway, but it would certainly help. It's going to be really close at the end between me, Albon and Leclerc for this P4. Leclerc is up into P5. Albon down to P6. Gap's going to be about 3 seconds as we cross the line. And I'm still needing to save some fuel. Lost so much pace. Lost 10 seconds to Carlos. A similar sort of gap to those behind. Purely because we're going to run out of fuel. Turns out having that extra lap worth of fuel that the game put in there by default was bang on, because we've had VSCs and safety car in this race, and I'm still having to save fuel. We're going to have to lift and coast quite considerably on this final lap, with Charles Leclerc about 3 seconds behind. Otherwise I'll be going into low fuel mode before we cross the line. 0.06 is what it reads right now. 0.05. Keep your eyes peeled on that, as well as top left for the gap to Charles, which is dramatically coming down. Now 2 seconds.
Less than 1 lap of fuel left now. The tank's pretty much empty.
Yeah. 0.02. Still 2 seconds. As Lando Norris wins the Grand Prix. And Max Verstappen comes home second. Carlos Sainz will come home third. But who's going to get 4th? Less than a second. I'm in low fuel mode. I'm going to go defensive into the final turn. And I don't know. Ultimately, I don't know.
And that's the end of the race.
4th! I basically blocked him on exit. Driver of the day in both the sprint and the race. GG! Driver of the day twice over the course of the weekend. Arguably a little bit naughty on Charles at the end there, but if the game mirrored real life rulings, it wouldn't have, I shouldn't have had an issue in the first place, because I wouldn't have lost an extra 5 seconds. So not to worry. Not to worry. What was the gap in the end? I want to know what the gap was. Gap between myself and Charles was 18 milliseconds.
I think for driver of the day, I'd probably pick Lando Norris.
Pick Lando? It gave it to me. What are you on about, pigs? 18 milliseconds. Bottas ultimately, in the end, ends up outside the points, unfortunately. In the rivalry breakdown, we are equal with Lewis Hamilton. 4 races remain in this season. I wouldn't have finished as high if George hadn't got a penalty, if others hadn't had issues with front wings, etc. So, we're still, I think, about the right difficulty level. But we shall advance. I'm now just 9 points behind Fernando Alonso in the driver's standings. We are 30 points behind Aston Martin in the constructor's standings. And we'll wait and see where we all are when we get to Mexico in the performance index. There is definitely going to be the chance to overtake Fernando in the drivers' championship. There might be... Oh, fully dry for Mexico. Thank God for that. There is potentially the opportunity to close down Aston Martin in the Constructors' Championship as well, as we'll say thank you to Ash for his 42nd month. Appreciate that, mate. Very, very much appreciated indeed for such long-term support. 9 points in the Drivers, 30 in the Constructors, 4 Grand Prix to do it. Is it possible? Ultimately, the answer is almost certainly yes. Nobody other than AlphaTauri have improved between the United States and Mexico, which is going to be crucial. A lot of teams at the minute going to be protecting for next year, which is exactly what we're doing as well. But look at Aston Martin. They're actually top of the performance index, supposedly. So whether we can close in on Fernando, I don't know. And Aston Martin, I'm not sure. But Fernando didn't have a great Grand Prix last time out. Fernando finished 10th. And that was through no fault of like extra pit stops or this, that, the other. Fernando just didn't have the pace. Ah, no. No. Tell a lie. Tell a lie. He spun early doors, didn't he? Fernando Alonso spun right at the very beginning of the Grand Prix. Ha. Okay. Well, maybe we've given ourselves a false perception of whether we can or cannot chase Fernando Alonso. But we'll give it everything. And when we're going to start upgrading the car again for this season, in the latter stages of the season, we'll wait and see if we can potentially catch anyone else. But full quali in the dry, full race in the dry next time out in Mexico, and maybe we'll close in on the championship. Start thinking about where you think you might want me to go in the new season. We're absolutely bang on level with Alpine. Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull are all the same as each other, and Aston Martin and McLaren are a little bit of a step further ahead. Haas and AlphaTauri aren't that far behind us. Williams not that far behind us either. Ultimately, it's results and performance index and championship table that will decide where you guys vote. But you will have the opportunity to vote, of course, and we won't be selecting any new team without consulting you first. That's all for today's episode, though. Do join me for more over the weekend. Formula One on Sunday all day. But for now, for this Saturday morning for you, I'm live all day on Twitch today, Saturday as well. But FC and FM this weekend on Saturday and F1 all day Sunday. My voice is about to go, apparently, so probably a good idea that I stop all recording now. Thank you very much for watching. Thumbs up, subscribe. Follow on Twitch, subscribe to the Chesnoid Live channel, join me there as well, and I shall see you in the next YouTube video.